The
Wait,
movement to stop studios from destroying games and taking them offline has reached another fever point. And now Pirate Software is getting called out for lying yet again. And besides this, there's plenty more to go over. But I have to tackle some false info first before I get into the meat of this video, so please allow me to explain this because it is important. And then we'll get into how the truth of what Pirate Software demands needs to be called out and stopped before it's too late. Firstly, to catch you up fast, Stop Killing Games is an initiative to create a law to ensure that publishers cannot just take games offline and essentially remove your ability to play games that you have paid for. The movement is growing. As
yeah.
seen here, as of this video going live, the movement has achieved 72% of its signatures, but yep, it still needs more.
All right, let's see where they're at right now. Actually,
So if you're a European user, you can sign this. I'll leave a link in the description for you to do so. If you're not European, I'm sorry, but you can't.
okay, wait, hold on. So he has a link in his description too. So the link's not working. This is what you get with the link. What's going on? Okay, we need an update on this.
Can't sign this. However, you can share this link with your European friends or mutuals if possible. So like I said, Pirate Software has been getting his reputation beaten into the pavement by pretty much everybody lately. Mostly because the guy was single-handedly blamed for destroying Stop Killing Games as an initiative when he originally reacted to the movement almost a year ago in this video here on screen. And since then, the
Yep,
Stop
we've
Killing
seen it.
Games initiative has limped on until recently, where it's come back with a fiery vengeance, and that's putting it lightly. Pirate Software has attempted to claim that he's not the bad guy, but unfortunately, his actions in past are coming to bite him more often than not.
Yeah.
Then recently, a user spoke out on how they were banned from Heartbound Steam Forum, which, if you don't know, Heartbound is the game that Pirate Software has been working on for years and it's still not finished. Hardbound isn't very unique either. It's literally just an Undertale ripoff in pretty much every single way, even down to how the combat works as well. Which really doesn't surprise me that the guy who thinks he's a god among men just made a carbon copy of something else instead. Also, the game has almost been in development for something like 10 years, if you can believe it, and it still isn't finished.
No
Regardless,
way.
the user claimed that Pirate's game
No way. 10 years? No, not Pirate Software's game. No way. 10 years. Much got it wrong. All this right here, I'm guessing this is the game. Not 10 years. 10 months. Okay? Because, you know, he knows everything. He's got the best people on this. 10 years it's not it. They got that all wrong.
Hardbound uses DRM in a single-player game, and DRM, or digital rights management, is a system used to control how users access copyrighted digital content. Essentially, it's anti-piracy software. And like I said, Pirate Software, whose name is ironic given the circumstances, is now being accused of implementing it into his game. However, as you can see, this post from the initial user that blew up eventually edited their Reddit post claiming that they were wrong to accuse Pirate Software of banning them because they were wrong and admitted to pushing false information as facts. So, this user clearly got too hung up on trying to attack Pirate Software that they admitted that they falsified information in order to dogpile onto him. And this is why it's important to ensure that you have something here before you say something. And unfortunately, and this is why I'm bringing this up, I have seen other content creators recently pushing this review that this user made on Hardbound as proof. But again, I have to reiterate, it's not true, and technically by saying what this user claimed about Hardbound as fact is technically just defamation pretty much, so please be careful with that. Although this doesn't change the fact that Pirate Software does indeed still support the idea of you'll own nothing and be happy narrative, because that's clearly what he's pushing. Okay, let's get into the real video now, because Pirate, in case you don't know, used to work in Blizzard. What he did there exactly, no one really knows. But his dad was a big shot at the company, which 100% means that Pirate was probably a nepotism hire. And they probably just had him in like an office debugging nothing just to keep him busy while, actual devs made video games. But Blizzard, of course, is notorious for being very anti-player and pro you will own nothing and be happy pretty much these days.
Yeah.
So it's really no wonder why this Stop Killing Games thing continues to gain traction as time passes on. For an example, The Crew as a franchise was a big reason why Stop Killing Games began in the first place. As seen here in an update in April 2025, Ubisoft confirms even still that buying their games does not mean that you technically own them. but that you simply bought a license to play their games that can be revoked at any given time, hence why this movement is happening. As Windows Central, which ran this article, said by reciting another website, which is Polygon by the way, which discovered this line from Ubisoft's lawsuit about digital ownership, which reads, Ubisoft allegedly misled purchasers of its video game The Crew into believing they were purchasing unfettered ownership rights in the game, rather than a limited license to access the game, but the reality is that consumers received the benefit of their bargain and were explicitly notified at the time of purchase that they were purchasing a license. So, this whole fiasco began because players quickly realized that places like Ubisoft, as stated here in that same Windows Central article, did revoke their right to play The Crew once it was shut down in 2024 after first being released in 2014. But the extra dagger in the rib was where users discovered again, as seen here, that The Crew absolutely did 100% have code in it that would have allowed the game to be played offline in a single player mode state. The point of this video is to prove that not only are plays.
Damn, I didn't even know that. So the code was already there. So like I made some arguments about like how like they can even let fans make servers and people can play on that if they want to, but yeah, if the code, or they can make code where you can just play the game single player without being online. Oh my gosh, well, not developers, but these publishers killing me. Jeez, all right, but keep watching.
Places like Ubisoft or people like Pirate Software who are being called out, and rightfully so, time and again, but that the reason why this movement is so important is because they refuse to admit when they're wrong, and they instead want to continue pushing this false narrative only because it benefits them specifically. But as Ubisoft states here as well, even if you own a physical copy of their games, you still don't own that game regardless. All you actually own is a worthless disc that's sitting in a plastic box, and they can, will, and have already stripped the ownership of a game from players regardless if they bought it digitally or physically. It really doesn't matter. So why Pirate Software continues to defend this practice is kind of beyond me, because it is so clearly anti-consumer. But he does come from a background of privilege and nepotism, so it's not surprising why he too believes in similar concepts. Thankfully, though, bigger creators are also throwing their support in as well, like Jacksepticeye.
I'm not going to say that's the reason why, okay? Because who knows really why he's saying and doing this stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
As seen here, has publicly advocated for his viewers as well to sign the petition, which is great to see. Then none other than also PewDiePie came in via his post on his YouTube channel to also officially support Stop Killing Games as well, which reads, in the comments, I've seen some of you mention Stop Killing Games, and I want to say I 100% support this movement. It ties in perfectly with what I talked about in my video, ownership over software and the games we buy. Again, I really don't get the sentiment of why anyone would be against the preservation and accessibility of video games. As I said, the only reason that you would be against it is because you have something to gain from the current meta of how things are being done currently. However, I do hope people do their research, because again, what that one user did on Steam, here's their post by the way, was not only debunked, but because of their lack of due diligence, they have now actually harmed Stop Killing Games as a movement by pushing this disinformation.
I don't think they harmed it that much.
People understand that you can't push false info like that, because all it'll do is strengthen your opposition and really just ruin your integrity. But that being said, I also want to get into, further with the thing with Pirate Software, all the things going on there. So like I said, Pirate got called out like crazy. Things went very poorly, and now he has deleted a rant that he has caused more backlash because of it. So this happened during Pirate's big response to the backlash, which has since not helped at all and only made things far worse. Thankfully, though, I have it, and this is Pirate responding to Accursed Farms. That's the content creator who started Stop Killing Games, so let's read it as it says. I put out 2 videos disagreeing with your initiative 10 months ago and haven't talked about it since. Now your initiative has failed and you're blaming me for 33 minutes of the hour-long video covering it. Your community is out in force, crapping up our streams and socials with hate messages, threats, and snide comments. Since you're so set on cutting up my response into pieces to try to make them seem unhinged, I'm going to drop my videos here to show the actual context. There was also a massive pinned FAQ on the first video you could read through to see my reasoning. To quote back to you, if you're going to hate me, at least hate me for what I'm actually saying. I'm fine talking to people that are level-headed about this and can have a conversation. But to be real, dude, every time you've been involved, your orbiters turn things toxic instantly and it sets me off. Your community is effing rabid and it's crap to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument. Why do you think I haven't talked about this crap in 10 months? Why do you think we auto-mute anyone bringing it up in chat? Because it's been rage bait and crap flinging the entire time. Your own Reddit had people openly talking about causing drama in our community to try to stir up more support. Pirate then ends his rant with, I still disagree with your movement for all of the reasons I stated. That's unlikely to change, and at this point, I am more than fine with that. So like I said, following backlash, Pirate went ahead and deleted this comment from his public response to stop killing games, because he is now accusing people of attacking his community for his comments.
So why did he delete it? I wonder, like, if he really does know, he probably does, that he's in the wrong. He misinterpreted everything, misinformed a lot of people, but his ego, I've came across people like this, right? Just have an ego, can't admit when they're wrong. He is wrong about this. He is. But anyways.
Comments on the movement. And if you ask me, that's really not how this works. I think what Pirate wants more than anything else right now is for this backlash to end, because this is pretty much career-ending level backlash if I've ever seen it. It's the sort of controversy where, no, his channel won't be deleted. However, in the online space, your integrity matters. And if you're being called out like this and your response is just, actually, I'm still right, yeah, you're gonna get attacked for it. Again, I'm not making that up. He actually ended his now deleted rant by saying, I still disagree with your movement and will not change my opinion, which is honestly crazy considering everyone but him supports it because it makes sense.
Yeah, that's basically him saying, I'm right. I'm not going to change my opinion. So you better move on. That is wild. And like, wow, I can't even concentrate because it's killing me. It's killing me. I don't know. I was going to say something, but I'm having a brain fart. All this drama and stuff. Oh, he's talking about all the backlash. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, this ain't the only thing. You have to think about a couple months ago with the World of Warcraft situation. So you have that. Now you have this. It's a lot of shit that's getting piled on to you, Just saying, it's a lot of hate.
Pirate simply doesn't want to accept his future because he believes it goes against his tenet as a game developer when it doesn't. But this just keeps proving to me anyways that despite being shown time and again with examples that Pirate Software genuinely refuses to budge simply because to admit he's wrong is worse. Anyways, that despite being shown a game developer when it doesn't want to accept his future because he believes it goes against his tenet as a game developer when it doesn't. But
it doesn't. Oh my God, like, how can you say that when a lot of developers are supporting the movement and stuff? Like, you can see in what's in this video, a lot of developers are behind this because they want their games to stay alive. They want their games to be played. They spend years on these games. Then a publisher can just come in, shut everything down, and have no one play these games anymore. That sucks. That's like having a piece of artwork, right? You work so hard on it. This is so beautiful, almost realistic. Work so hard on it, right? Then someone, like, you have it up in an art show or something, and the art director or whatever comes in this nope or something. Maybe that's a bad example, but people work hard on these games and stuff, and the developers want us to keep playing it. Now, like, with the whole movement, we don't expect them to support these games. No, we don't. We don't suspect that at all. At the end of the day, we just want to keep playing them. I'm just saying, like, how I just don't get how, like, I hope that's not his thought because it doesn't make any sense. I don't know, man.
But this just keeps proving to me, anyways, that despite being shown time and again with examples that pirate software genuinely refuses to budge simply because to admit he's wrong is worse than death for him. Although, this is also the same guy who got involved in a viral World of Warcraft hardcore incident where he basically doomed his own teammates to fail and then tried to gaslight his viewers into believing that he was not to blame for the incident. And then it was proven that in fact when Pirate Software claimed he would discover who pulled the enemy that killed the team.
You know what I did before this? I worked at Blizzard Entertainment.
Okay, well at one point, when he and his teammates were streaming and got themselves in a dangerous situation, most of the team tried helping each other survive, while Thor, you know, the guy constantly boasting his hitherto undreamt of skills, ran away and said there was nothing he could do.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
savage, but come on,
Innovate you?
man.
Do you see my mana?
He was caught lying about his resources, actively wasting them while running away, so he could then claim that there was nothing he could do.
If you have that kind of a mistake again, I'm disbanding the party. I'm gonna go run with other people. Because you guys cannot do that. Ah, damn it, guys. So one of you, hold the ocular. Why? Now half the raid is dead. Oh, I swear to God. I'm gonna go back in the video and find out who pulled that damn thing, kick him out of the raid. That is insane shit.
Which ended up being none other than Pirate Software himself who made the mistake.
You have to be better than that. And we just lost all of those materials.
Yeah, how dare you attack the ocular, you stupid, dumb, moronic.
Thor pulled in a clip. Link.
Oh wait, what's that? He was the guy who wrongly attacked the ocular? Making it his fault everyone died? Gee, I wonder how he's gonna apologize for being so toxic to his supportive viewer base for no reason whatsoever.
I'm not at fault there. I'm correct there for doing that. 100%. That is not on me.
Suddenly,
What? What are you? Oh my God, he's that bad? He's that bad? Oh. I don't know if I want to keep talking about this anymore. Like, brother, you did it. And you. Oh my God. What is going on? Like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
now it was magically no longer a problem because nobody else is allowed to make mistakes in his presence, and if they do, I guess they should be banned for it. But if Pirate makes a mistake, oh, then it's fine. It's totally genuine and barely even an issue at all. Love the double standard there. I think what this controversy has exposed more than anything is that some people are simply just hell-bent on ensuring they are somehow the greatest, and they will really stop at nothing even if it means blocking people, lying outright, and more to make others believe them.
That is not on me.
You can't claim that the backlash towards you is unwarranted
That is not on me.
evidence of you crying about it and not think that the internet won't find it somehow. He's just passive aggressive, and honestly, it's more pathetic than anything.
I'm gonna go back in the video and find out who pulled that damn thing, kick him out of the raid. That is insane. That is not on me.
Like that World of Warcraft crash out where he doomed his own teammates, he released a super lengthy response as to why he was actually not at fault, despite being in fact at fault. And then as one user said in the comments, just take the L, it's not that hard, and Pirate says, hope this was worth it for you, as if stating the obvious that Pirate was in the wrong is somehow morally bad to do so. And that by stating this, you have now lost the respect and support, I guess, of Pirate Software in the future. Like,
Yeah.
this guy literally thinks he's like as smart as Reed Richards or Tony Stark or something when he's just a nepo baby with the biggest chip on his shoulder.
So one of you, hold the ocular. Why? Now half the raid is dead. That is not on me.
Then again, this is also the same guy who said this, and this claim is ridiculous.
So with that in mind, that community brought me this and tried to get me to sign it. And I don't want to. Number one, I can't because I don't live in Europe. But number two, I wouldn't sign it even if I could. And I'm going to kind of go through this and try to explain the reasoning as to why that would be the case. The reason why I have a problem with Stop Killing Games is specifically it starts the wrong conversation. If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single player experience, and then taking away support in the future, This ain't it.
He's making me mad. I'm not gonna lie. He's making me mad. He's making me mad. He's making me mad. Every time I hear it, I think it gets to me more and more. That's not what it's about, but let's keep watching the fucking video. All right.
Under its own description, it says, this initiative calls to require publishers that sell or license video games to consumers in the European Union or related features and assets sold for video games they operate to leave said video games in a functional playable state. Specifically, the initiative seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by the publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher. This isn't always possible in all video games, and it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat. It is incredibly vague and will damage all live service games.
Pirate claims
Not
this
about
initiative
live
would
service
harm
games.
all games, but it wouldn't. The simple truth is that Pirate Software refuses to admit when he's wrong and doesn't want the power of games to be in the hands of the people who play and enjoy them. Instead, he wants
The ones who pay for them. 60, 70, 80, $100. We should own what we pay for, where we spend our hard-earned money on. Like, what the fuck is I can't do it. He's killed me. He's killing me. Damn it. I'm done. I'm okay. I'm okay. Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm okay.
to keep the power at the top where he considers himself to be a part of that club, and that the rest of us to be seen as peasants that exist below someone like him that we must depend on in order to thrive and enjoy games from. But not only is that wrong, it's disingenuous and frankly kind of pathetic to view games in this manner, especially when so many people have already pushed back against Pirate, telling him that these issues that he claims can't be fixed have already been fixed a long time ago. And that instead, this is a man who's unwilling to budge in his opinions and his mistakes because he values his ego and image above really anything else. And if the industry or players must suffer in order for this mirage, if you will, to stay operational, then so be it in his eyes. But then Pirate says you have to re-architect the entire game to make it single player. Listen to this.
You'd have to re-architect
I heard
the
this.
entire game. The game is what is called client server. So in client server models, there's a server and there's a client, and all of the math, all of the game, everything happens on the server. The client just displays it. And the reason we want to do it that way,
From one dev to another, you act the. Hold on. Let me move my. But we learned, right? We learned at the beginning of this video, like in the crew, they had the code in there where you could play single player, where you could play offline, already in there. All they had to do is go in there and fix it all up and activate it and do whatever. And they could have just played it offline by themselves. So we already know they can do that. The code was in the game. So I just don't get it. It's probably not that I'm not a developer or coder or anything like that, but I imagine probably not that hard, to activate something like that where you don't have to be online to play the game. I could be wrong. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how I'm a fucking dumbass, I guess. Cause, I'm just your average guy. I don't know a lot.
is so that you can't teleport around and do a billion damage. You don't trust the client. You trust the server. The client just displays what it's told, right? So if we wanted to re-architect this, we'd have to take all of that server logic, push it back out into the client, and somehow make that playable in a multiplayer-only video game. That doesn't make sense to me.
But that's not true, and he knows it. Like I showed earlier, the crew was confirmed to be able to be a single-player game. It just wasn't, because Ubisoft simply didn't want it to be that way. And that's what it comes down ultimately, which is that Pirate knows what he claims can be fixed, but he just doesn't want it to happen. And that's kind of dangerous to me. He even talks about the crew. Listen to this.
Right. So why did this start in the first place? What is the specific cases they've called out that are egregious? And they have one. It's the crew. So action on The Crew. The video game The Crew, published by Ubisoft, was recently destroyed for all players and had a player base of at least 12 million people. Due to the game's size and France's strong consumer protection laws, this represents one of the best opportunities to hold a publisher accountable for this action. If we're successful in charges being pressed against Ubisoft, this can have a ripple effect on the video games industry to prevent publishers from destroying more games. First off, I don't like the idea in this that it has a player base of 12 million people. That is not how long-running games work. There is a large number of people that buy the game, and that player base slowly dwindles off until nobody is playing it anymore.
True.
If there's any costs associated with keeping the game online, which this was an online video game, then eventually it costs more to keep it online than it does
Offline mode.
keep running it. When they do,
He has to be. He has to be doing this on purpose because, you know, he may have read it right, but he may have interpreted it wrong. You know, he may have what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. Wrong the first time, but his ego won't let him say, "Oh yeah, my bad. I misread it. Got it wrong the first time. My bad." His ego won't let him do it.
we should be calling out that specific company, not all companies.
The fact he says that we should not call out all companies, but only the few that do it is wrong too. Because these days, it's not just one company that's delisting or controlling how players operate or access their games. Pirate, my dude, it's all of them. For God's sakes, go look at Nintendo right now, for example. Recently, a user on Reddit revealed, and this is from Games Radar, Switch 2 perma bans are so permanent that not even Nintendo itself can overturn them, as one user named Twink Link discovered to their horror. So some context, I know, as the user themselves said via Reddit, I let everyone in my family use my Nintendo Switch 2 system, and as a result, my sister uses it. Her username was recently changed to Twink Link and console ban. I am fully prevented from accessing any Nintendo services at all on the system. I'm unable to contact support as they're too busy with complaints right now, but this has been incredibly stressful. We were all so excited to be playing.
Can I be honest? I kind of like that name. I kind of like that name. That name is, I know what it means. It's funny. You know, it's a funny name. And it's on a fucking game console. Wow. Just let people name themselves whatever they want to name themselves. It's good. It was funny. God damn it, Nintendo. You always got to be doing some outrageous stuff.
Breath of the Wild again. They then state here afterwards that it wasn't their sister naming themselves Twink Link, which still sounds like a ridiculous joke, but to say out loud, but that the system itself was actually flagged by accident. And I bring this up for a really simple reason, which is why in the hell can an entire console be banned like this by accident, no less, and that's just considered normal these days? That these sorts of insane things happen because of what opinions people like Pirate and others in the industry are.
Okay, so it's by accident. Good, because say that name out loud, it's funny. Good.
Allowing to happen. By supporting what he believes to be true, the whole you'll own nothing and that's fine, stop complaining narrative, it doesn't just stop at The Crew or whatever other game. No, it keeps going. And that this Stop Killing Games initiative is not just because someone wants to play a FIFA game offline, it's because game publishers, these companies, and yes, even their yes men like Pirate refuse to allow freedom in the future when it comes to games as a medium. So you're telling me that back in the day when you bought a Super Nintendo with like Super Mario World, you owned both of those. Nobody could take your ownership from that unless they, stole it obviously from you physically. But now I don't own the games I buy, but not only that, I also don't own the console I bought either. So in a sense, I'm paying these prices to what exactly? Rent both the system and the games on it, and people like Pirate just think this is okay, that this is now the meta? The dark truth is simple here, which is that Pirate is completely fine with you, the user, not owning literally anything anymore. And the fact that he's gone to such lengths to sabotage or downright ruin such a movement for simply saying, hey, can we own the things we buy like anything else is kind of insane to me. Pirate Software wants you to own nothing, and if you ever question him or his beliefs, his motives, or even his games, You're just a wrong thinker plebeian who needs to, I guess, sit down, shut up, and keep your mouth and wallet open so no owning nothing future can continue, I guess. While Pirate may be okay with that, I certainly am not. This is more than just one game, it's the entire medium. And I need people to understand that this initiative has to succeed, otherwise this current meta where your games can be taken from you without consent, and even your consoles or your user profiles can be terminated or turn actual physical machines that you own into literally nothing but glorified paperweights, that needs to end. That the industry has swung the pendulum so far to the other side that we're now reaching this weird dictatorship levels of nonsense. Pirate Software may have deleted his post thinking that I wouldn't find it, but I'm glad I still did, because we all know now what kind of man this guy is, and it saddens me that he truly thinks it's better if we own nothing and just accept that the people at the top will always have ultimate power over you as a player, and that if you question it, you're the enemy and not them. That's an insane truth to discover, but a truth found all the same. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for being here.
Good video. Good video. Because I didn't know he said all that. Give this man, subscribe to this man. Give the man a like. And YouTube, Twitch live. I'm going to put this in the chat. So go to his channel. Show him some love. All right, there we go. Yeah. Pretty good video.